You are much more powerful than you think you are. You have the power to make the world a better place. We all have this power, but we hardly ever use it. There are problems. You've been thinking hard about how to make things right, but unless you're Superman, you're going to have to convince others that your solutions will work. If you succeed, others will lend you a hand. You may have shared your ideas with your friends and family, but real change happens when you share your ideas with people you don't know, at least not yet. That's the power of public speaking. Isaac Newton wrote this in a letter to a friend to explain his own success. If I have seen a little further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. The giants of public speaking have already been there, and they've done that. All you need to do is jump up on their shoulders. The biggest giant was Cicero. He lived in Rome 2,000 years ago. In a book he wrote on oratory and orators, he lauded the power of public speaking, but lamented that so few choose to use it. Here's what he wrote. What is so admirable is that out of an infinite multitude of men, there should arise a single individual who can alone, or with only a few others, exert effectually that power which nature has granted to us all, meaning you and me. Cicero knew the importance of public speaking. He could hold an audience in the palm of his hand. He did this mainly by not appealing to the reason, but to the heart of his listeners. This approach is direct, it's very persuasive, it gets results quickly, but it hardly ever leads to lasting change. Fundamentally, Cicero was a hired gun, like the Old Testament prophet Balaam. He represented the interests of whomever paid him. Slightly better intentions can be found in William Shakespeare's poetic version of the speech Mark Antony delivered at the funeral of Julius Caesar. You're familiar with it. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. The original is lost, but it was a game changer. A whole lot was riding on this speech. Who would control the Roman Empire? Mark and his associates convinced their fellow citizens that the recently assassinated Julius wasn't just another unsuccessful rebel, but rather a liberating god. They had a good prop, a bigger-than-life-size wax figure of Caesar's corpse, complete with 23 bigger-than-life dagger blades. Because of this speech, Caesar's grandnephew Octavius, whom we know as Augustus Caesar, became the first of a long line of emperors. Our civilization is a direct descendant of Augustus's. This is a world order that came about because of just one important speech. Those who have the power often believe that might makes right. This attitude leads to injustices that help them maintain that power. But thankfully, the power of speech is a higher power. Public speaking can cause right to triumph over might. The civil rights movement was driven by speeches and speechmakers. Many contributed, but Martin Luther King stands out as first among equals. In 1963, he delivered his immortal I Have a Dream speech. It was the climax of the struggle for equal rights. What was one seems to be slipping away at present. The dream was still closer to being a reality. The Bible tells us that Joseph was a dreamer too. King's dream is bigger than Joseph's and harder to fulfill. But in the age-old struggle between good and evil, the good dreams are going to prove more powerful than the nightmares. Words, the building blocks in speeches, are only a tool. They can work for good or evil. I said that history is written by the winners, and I know that the good guys are going to win in the end. Hitler may have been a good speaker, but he definitely wasn't a good person. His 1,000-year empire didn't last quite so long as he hoped it would. Speakers who are up to no good are going to wind up just like he did. So if you want to change the world, to make it a better place, listen to advice Paul gives in Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. In other words, you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. If your own act isn't clean, you have to clean it up before you can get into the cleaning business. Aristotle describes speeches as a blend of ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, the first in the list, refers to the character and credibility of the speaker, meaning you. If you are going to give a speech that will have a lasting impact on the world, both you and your speech are going to have to be above reproach. I'll conclude with words that Dr. King spoke in 1968. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long. that it ends towards justice.